Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tea with Crema. My name is Kris. I'll be one of your hosts today, and I'm joined by my best friend, Emma.
Good morning, and happy Lunar New Year to everyone.
Yay for the Lunar New Year. In case you missed it, our episode today is not brought by the Lunar New Year. It is actually about something I almost never thought we would talk about, but here we are, Super Bowl season, and I don't know if I've watched the games recently. I couldn't actually tell you who any of the winners are in the past 5 years, but our episode today is not about the Super Bowl itself, but rather the halftime show, because I can tell you people who have performed in the past 5+ years. Couldn't tell you the teams that played or who won, but I know who performed. So our episode today will be about those performances. Before we begin, though, we have our tea check. So Emma, what tea did you bring today?
Well, you said it's not brought to you by the Lunar New Year, but my tea is. So
Plot twist!
Today I'm drinking another Lupicia tea, and this one's called Flying Dragon. So it's supposed to be for the year of the dragon. It's a La France pear and bergamot flavored Taiwanese oolong, wishing you a year to soar like a dragon flying in the sky. And it's very cute. It smells really good out of the packaging. This is also the first time that I decided to use my tea diffuser. And it's went well, so it doesn't taste terrible, but it honestly to me just tastes like a oolong. So there's that.
They didn't decide to put dragon fruit in their dragon tea?
Missed opportunity, I guess. But I also think that because you give pears on New Year's, on the Lunar New Year, that's like one of the things that you give. So I think that's what the nod is to, rather than like being on the nose about dragon fruit.
That makes sense.
What are you drinking today?
Today I have an organic holy basil and turmeric tea. And I don't know anything about holy basil, but I do know that turmeric is supposed to be good for digestion. But this is a tea that is supposed to be very good at helping your body manage stress. And turmeric also has anti-inflammatory properties, so it's just one of those wellness type teas. And I've had it and don't taste as much of the turmeric as other turmeric teas that I've had, because I know turmeric tends to add like this earthy spice to things, and it's not so turmeric forward. And I didn't realize, I don't know if holy basil is this in the same family of plants as regular basil, but I'm not getting basil that you would see like in a pesto. It tastes very much like a green tea, so I'm not super sure. I'd have to do more research on like what holy basil is, but this is basically, to me, it tastes like a green or white tea featuring just the slightest amount of turmeric.
Maybe it's been blessed.
But we have our teas. We've done our tea checks. Pretty good. A little interesting. A little weaker than I thought, but c'est la vie. All right, today's episode, we're looking at the past 10 years of halftime show performances. So looking back from 2013 all the way to 2023, our goal today will just be to go through and really rank our thoughts on where these performances all lie. So we'll be counting down our least favorite to most favorite performances. So essentially starting at 10, what was our 10th least favorite performance, going all the way to our most recentest favoriteest. We won't be doing honorable mentions for any halftime shows from before 2013. Sorry, maybe some social media shout outs, but for the most part, just keeping it to the top 10. So with that, we'll begin our top 10 countdown. Emma, what was your least favorite performance of these 10?
2019 Maroon 5.
Okay. I didn't think that was going to be your lowest one. Tell me more.
I just actually remember live, not live tweeting, but you and I were like live texting during that one. And it was weird. It Adam Levine had his shirt off for half of it. I didn't even rewatch it. So in full transparency, I rewatched all of them. And then Kris did not rewatch it because he knew which ones were memorable versus which ones were not. So I even gave them rankings. That one got a 2 out of 10 for me.
Ouch.
What about you?
2 out of 10. Wow. Okay. My least favorite of the past 10 years would have to be Justin Timberlake.
Oh.
Mostly because it just ain't right that he's been back on the Super Bowl. It just doesn't sit right with me.
I agree.
So it's 10 because it honestly shouldn't have even existed. That's why. We won't, everyone knows why. We don't have to explain it and won't explain it. But the point is, he shouldn't have been invited back. That ain't right to me. It doesn't sit right with me. So that's why that one's number 10. Hands down.
Oh,
easy.
good one. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could I could be convinced to be the otherwise. Okay, so number 9. Number 9 to you?
Number 9. Okay, this one might be a little controversial, but Rihanna. Number 9.
My
because
heart, tell me more.
That wasn't a performance, in my humblest opinion.
That was a hot take. The Navy's gonna come for us!
She just walked around for a while.
Oh my god.
It wasn't so much a performance as it was like, she was there. She did show up. She sung songs. But I don't know, when I think, and maybe it's just my interpretation of Super Bowl, but I'm thinking you're bringing your best. You're bringing a performance, an over-the-top performance. You're delivering. There's visuals. There's so much nuance to it, but that just felt very like, walk from here, walk over there, walk back over here.
She was pregnant.
Maybe that just wasn't the year for her to do the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean,
so that one's my number 9.
Ahead of time, she couldn't control that. I mean, she could, but regardless. Number 9 for me is Justin Timberlake, and because of the reasonings, like I had to rewatch it because it was like weird. It started in the underground. I don't know if you remember that, like, and it's like they're like taking like cell phone videos and stuff, and then he pops out into the stage. But the only reason why he ranked higher than Maroon 5 for me was because of his Prince tribute, because Prince had just passed away.
Didn't Prince not want that tribute?
Oh, awkward. So maybe he should be number 10. I also like, it doesn't, I feel bad that Maroon 5 is like number 10 because it was also, was that the one that was in Houston?
I don't know locations.
I think it was.
No,
I think it was
Lady Gaga's was in Houston. Have there been multiples in Houston? They could have all been in Houston. I wouldn't have known the difference, to be honest.
Because I thought that's why he brought Travis Scott on, was because it was like, shout out to Houston.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we're just talking. Okay, so let's keep moving on. So yeah, my number 9 was Justin Timberlake. Number 8.
We're at number 8. And I would have to put Bruno Mars at number 8.
Wow.
Because I just
so
don't.
Different.
I don't remember much about it. And the guest, I felt like didn't really add much to it either. The Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm just like, okay, love that for people who love that. But it just wasn't for me. It's kind of a letdown, you know? Because when you think Bruno Mars, you're like, oh, it's going to be a great performance. And I was just kind of like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, you know what? I will say, okay, I think when I was doing mine in terms of like criteria, I was like looking at their range of songs that they did, if they did the full song or not, and just like the musicality of it. I think I was looking at it from that aspect rather than like it's this whole big show / mini set, mini concert. But there were some parts like I did, as it gets higher and higher, I was like, oh no, this felt like it was like a cohesive performance. But yeah, that was weird with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. My 8 is The Weeknd. And
that
it's because it was odd to me. He's just kind of like roaming around the world. And yeah.
That's fine, because number 7 for me was The Weeknd. Because I also, you know, there's a certain level of like longevity and legacy that I feel like you have to be in the Super Bowl. And I'm just not necessarily of the opinion that The Weeknd had that yet. Which
I think, to me, I felt like Bruno Mars's first performance was definitely of that caliber. Like he did Runaway Baby, like that whole album, like Just the Way You Are and stuff, which I was like, had he done it 2 years later, which is when he came back up again with Coldplay and Beyonce and Mark Ronson, I felt like that would have been the proper timeline for him, because by that point he had released like Finesse, Chunky, like all of those musics in his discography. But I felt like that first album, because I know what his current music is, it could have been more. So he like only really had that first album to pull from.
He was still just too young in his career, which, I mean, again, different opinions on the purpose of the Super Bowl, but I think part of it is like the timelessness of it. And like, I mean, I'm not saying Bruno Mars doesn't make good music. He does. I enjoy Bruno Mars's music. I just like, at that time, that wasn't your time, in my opinion. So, but that's also why I put The Weeknd on there. The Weeknd has really good music, but like, I just...
Right. Awkward. Also, I just realized that are there 11 performances?
Is that how math works? 13 to 23?
Yes, there's 11 performances, because I was like, wait, how are we on number 7? But I still haven't said my number 8. So...
Well, whatever number, that's my order of performances. So,
so your next one is The Weeknd. Okay, so my next one is actually, and it's probably a little controversial. Do I even want to say it? I don't know if I even want to say it. Shakira and J-Lo.
Okay. Is it because of J-Lo?
Yes.
Okay. Because there was a wrong way to answer that question.
Yes, no, because Shakira herself, like Shakira could have held that entire that entire set by herself. And she has, you know, the repertoire. And I really like that it was in Miami. So she brought on like Spanish speaking artists, right? J Balvin was there. Bad Bunny was on it. Shakira. Like those three could have held a show and been really entertaining. And it was such a nice nod to Miami in that way. But then when J-Lo came on, I was like, what? And then I kind of like the messaging with the kids in the cages, because remember that circle that time when like kids were being locked up in cages when they were coming across the border, like it was a whole thing. J-Lo's daughter did a whole little cameo singing, but it, to me, that is one of those performances that felt like two separate performances. Like it felt like Shakira did her thing and J-Lo did her thing. And there was no like even like overlap between the two. But Shakira had performed with both Bad Bunny, did her thing, did a thing with J Balvin, did a thing. And then Jennifer Lopez was like, the tail end. So to me, that was weird. Yeah. So had it been just a Shakira, Bad Bunny, J Balvin, that might have been different.
Okay. I don't necessarily have it on the same place, but like the rationale behind it makes sense. And you definitely gave the right rationale, because had you been like, it's because of Shakira, I'd have been like, no, that's actually just factually wrong. So sorry, try again. But I get it. I think my next one would be Maroon 5. Mm-hmm. Part of it is just like they have the other things that I was mentioning. I just don't care for Maroon 5. So, and this is my personal opinion. So,
you're right.
It's not like I'm releasing the objective list of best halftime show performances. So that's why Maroon 5 comes next, because I just didn't care for it. It was that there was all the other stuff, but again, you know, if what's his name, Adam Levine, if he floats your boat, love that for you. It just it's not for me. That their music isn't for me. It just cool. It just overall wasn't my favorite show, because it wasn't gonna be.
And that's okay. My next one is Bruno Mars. I just really like the musicality of Bruno Mars, but that Red Hot Chili Peppers was weird. Isaac and I had this whole conversation yesterday, because Bruno Mars is one of his top like 3, but he also just loves Bruno Mars. But he was saying how like had the Red Hot Chili Peppers came out and did like their reggae stuff, it would have been maybe a little bit more cohesive in terms of the show, because they came out and they're like, give it away, give it away, give it away now. You know, like immediately went into like their rock stuff, even though they have like ska-esque, and so does Bruno Mars. Like that would have been a nice, more cohesive. But yeah, to me, number 6 is Bruno Mars, or whatever number we're on.
Because the numbers don't make sense no more.
Sorry.
Okay, I think my next one would be Coldplay.
Oh.
Because like, I don't know, Coldplay is just, I don't know. Coldplay doesn't deliver the energy as a group.
Right. That's the thing too.
Coldplay makes cool music. I enjoy Coldplay music, but no part of me is like, you know what I want to watch at a halftime show? Fix You. Like, that's not what I want to hear. I'm not saying I don't remember what they performed, but like when I think of Coldplay, that's the type of energy that I think of Coldplay. And no part of that energy is like halftime show.
Actually, you know what? Coldplay is actually is also my number 5 or whatever number we're on right now is Coldplay. And it's exactly for what you're saying. Like as a musical group, great. They also brought on Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Mark Ronson, and Gustavo Dudamel, which like to me still, like it was an interesting performance, because it was also number 50. So, you know, Coldplay does their thing. I used to rule the world, blah, 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 right? And then Beyonce comes on. She's like, okay, ladies, now let's get in formation, right? And she's like, my daddy, Alabama, mama, Louisiana. And then you have Bruno Mars coming on, and he's like, put your pinky fingers to the moon, right? So it's like a whole, like 3 different vibes. And Beyonce and Bruno Mars like played together well, because they went back and forth. They had like a whole little dance battle. And then Coldplay's just in the back, and he looks like that friend that's just invited, like just excited that he got invited, you know? And
he's at the back of the party like, I'm here, guys.
I made it to the cookout, like got invited. It's okay. I don't have to perform. I'll let y'all do your thing. So like that was interesting to me, but I also did like the homage. So I don't know if you remember, but the Coldplay had like the stage with the screen on it. So when you came up, it just like did all of the highlights of the last 50 years of however many times that they've had performances. So you see like the Whitney Houston, the national anthem, you see, you know, Bruce Springsteen doing his, you see all of these like different artists and their journey along the way. And then you have like the Michael Jackson tribute. And yeah, so essentially like that was really nice to me. Like it felt very sentimental. And at the same time, like that's the Bruno Mars that I would have loved to have.
His own show.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next for you.
My next one is the Dr. Dre one
Ah.
from 2 years ago. And mostly because there was so much happening and so many people on that I was just like, this is kind of a lot, but also not much at all because there's too much at the same time. Like, it wasn't bad. We're getting to the point where, like, at this point, none of these shows were bad. They just weren't as good kind of thing. Right. And so I'm just like, dang, because, like, overall, these are individuals that I would have really enjoyed, like, watching and seeing perform. And I think really, especially Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J, Eminem, 50 Cent, like, really a solid group, cohesive. Right. The vibe, the energy, the musicality makes sense. I'm not 100% sure, like, what Anderson .Paak and Kendrick Lamar were doing. Maybe I just don't understand music that way, whatever. But, like, you know, or maybe it was supposed to be, like, a generational bridge kind of thing. Whatever. Anyways, it's a good show. Don't get me wrong. It just was a lot, but not much at the same time. I think it's because you just didn't get to, like, have the punch
of each of them because there were so many.
You're going so fast that you're just like, you didn't really get to, like, sit with the moment before the next person came on kind of thing.
Right. I mean, we'll come back to that one because that's one of the more top ones for me. But, like, I agree in the same way. So my next one is actually Katy Perry. I loved Katy Perry. Like, I liked the performance as a whole, but, like, rewatching it, I was like, oh, I remember now all of the memes, right? Like, people were like, who did it best, Guy Fieri or Katy Perry? And then, you know, you have... And then you have the sharks, like, if you remember the set, like, that to me felt sharks. Like, right? Like, Left Shark was, like, eating and, like, killing it. So, like, you had, like, all of these different memes, and I remember that being very meme-worthy, and it was so cool that Missy Elliott came out of retirement just for that. Like, that to me was super cool. Yet, that one was actually, like, towards the top for me, like, in terms of rating. I think, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Like, to me, I said it felt disjointed, but it made sense as a set. And then Missy Elliott was fire. Like, that was cool. But yeah, other than that, like, to me, it just, like, did not flow in the way I wanted it to flow. Which then brings me to Dr. Dre, Snoop, and company, because they're next for me at an 8.5. And the only reason why I did like that one was because the set, like, I actually just, like, physically liked the set. Like, if you remember, it was all of the houses and, like, the cars in the front. And, like, I think the connection between Kendrick Lamar coming on is because he's also from Compton. And so is Dr. Dre. Snoop Dogg's from Long Beach. You know, like, I think that was, like, the California / generational
experience.
Yeah, experience. So that to me, and then I also just, like, love Snoop Dogg because he's just not serious. You know, like, he was told, like, you cannot bring a bandana. So what did he do? He wore a bandana. Like,
and it's Snoop Dogg, so what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. Like, you were not going to tell Snoop Dogg anything. Like, I'm confused. But yes, at the same time, it was just, like, so many different snippets. 50 Cent was wearing that tank top that, to me, I was like, what's going on with this tank top? And then Mary J. Blige, you know, she comes on, she does her thing. Kendrick Lamar does his thing. But yeah, again, it was just, like, too many of a good thing. Like, this was like a good time for us to kind of cut down. Like, maybe even just, like, a Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg would have been cool. Or, like, Dr. Dre
and Eminem, I think, would have been, like, the most obvious thing. Yeah.
Like, that's, like, the most obvious trio, right? To me, is Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Eminem. Yet they brought on everybody. So it kind of feels like, I don't know if you've ever been to, like, a concert where you want, like, the main guy to, like, sing. I'm just, like, going back to my experience when I saw Nelly. Sorry, side tangent. Like, Nelly was there for the concert, yet everyone else was, like, his entourage was doing the performances. And I was like, WTF. Nelly, why are you letting your cousin sing Dilemma?
I'm here for Nelly.
Like, I'm here for Nelly, not Nelly and company.
You don't have a musical group. What are you doing? All right. So I think my next one would be Shakira and Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
Again, mostly because everyone else really sold it on the show. Like, Shakira can sell water to the ocean. Like, she just can. It was good. Like, I just enjoyed it. I just remember watching it and being entertained and really enjoying it. Obviously, I'm biased. You know, I really do enjoy a good Bad Bunny moment, short moment, long moment, movie length moment, concert moment, whatever. Like, we had a great time. J Balvin's cool. You know, like, I don't know. He's cool, but it's fine. Like an uncle sort of way. It's a cool uncle kind of thing. vibe going on here.
So I feel like, yeah, if anything, J Balvin's like your older sibling, like your older cousins like to listen to J Balvin. I wouldn't say your uncle listens to J Balvin, but I would say like it's like your older
I mean,
cousin.
I'd be listening to J Balvin, but like, yeah, he definitely has that like older energy kind of thing. Anyways, the point was, it was good. I thought it was a good show. Jennifer Lopez be out here. She be doing stuff. I don't really understand it, but like, she has a really long career somehow. Like, it's not
somehow
for me to like
after like making.
I'm not trying to tear down her career, but
really.
Cute movies and stuff, like
yes, that part. She's an actress, but she is not a singer. Like, let's just put that words at that is Shakira's voice. That not Shakira. That is Ashanti's voice. That is not her voice.
It'd be like that. So then we're at top 3, right?
Yes, we're in the top 3 now.
Okay, so this is going to be very important. We're about to see how this goes down. Maybe, hopefully not, because we're down to at this point. We definitely have a similar, out of the 3 left.
We have 2 are similar.
So it's really just a matter of like, I wonder if she has the same one as I do. We're about to find out. Because you know what my one is, so I don't even know. Anyways, my next ranking would be Katy Perry with Lenny Kravitz and Missy. I don't really remember Lenny Kravitz in that performance, but I do remember Missy Elliott in that performance.
Because he's saying, I kissed a girl. That was his contribution. I mean, because he is a guitarist, right? But I know he's also a singer as well. But he's saying, I kissed a girl. That's why you don't remember it, because it felt like a Katy Perry set.
I don't know. It was a very newsworthy performance, but like, I don't know. She delivered the energy that one would expect from Katy Perry at that time. I will say Katy Perry's had like a wildly evolved musical journey. She's done a lot with her music and a lot of things, but at that time, she delivered Katy Perry at that time, which was like, for me, very in line with the type of energy and music that I was enjoying, which was just that like cute, fun, high energy. It was that pop.
Bubblegum pop.
But yes, it was cute. I liked it. The lion, like the shark, like it just was cute and fun and I enjoyed it. I did have a moment. It was fun. And even like the memes, I never took as like tearing her down. It was just like people enjoying the performance. Like it was such a long lasting performance that we kept talking about it.
And she was the one that was also feeding into that too. Like, she was like, oh yeah, like left shark forever, things like that. Like, so she knew what she was doing. And I think I agree with that aspect of like, that was what you would expect of her at that time, right? Like California Girls, like I Kissed a Girl, like all of these different things. And that was, that's a performer that at that time delivered.
Which I do think might run a little counter to the earlier point of, in terms of like longevity. I do think she got invited at that point because even though she hadn't been in the game very long at that time, the things that she was doing, because this would have been 2015, she'd have been like 3 albums into her career, but like had been doing very well with all 3 of those albums.
She was that girl, right? Like every song that she put out was a hit. I do remember that.
So she was doing very well. Like half of one of her albums were just single hits. So like was doing very well. And so, but again, I also could understand the feedback of like, oh, but she didn't have that career, that long-term career either. So I get how that could apply to Katy Perry. Again, this is a subjective list. It's not objective. This is just what I thought. So that performance was still up there for me. So
this is my number 3, which I know, like you ranked it number 9. Rihanna, to me, is top 3. Okay? And hold on, I'm gonna bring my rebuttal right now. Top 3 to me, because yes, she did not dance, and yes, she did not. Right, she's pregnant, so I give her that. But the one thing I will enjoy about Rihanna is that she will have a show going on around her. While she may not necessarily be the show, I think the choreography was lit. It was also choreographed by a Samoan Kiwi choreographer who has done a lot of her like choreography for like her Fenty shows and all of these different things. And she had a bunch of Islander dancers in her set. So like, but that's because they're part of this. Her name is Paris Goebel. It's because they're part of her like crew. So she had like all of these different, just like bodies and like people that I know and like have watched growing up and like dancing and things like that. So I thought that was really cool and it's a great nod. So I can appreciate that fact. So I don't know if it was really just like the Rihanna part, but it's also because we've been waiting for album number 10, right? Like everyone was like, she's going to perform and then she's going to drop the album. Still no album, but she had another baby. So, so I felt like that was like her coming back and I was like, oh, she's going to drop an album. Like this is everything. I love this. And yeah. So anyway,
Cool. We definitely have to agree to disagree on that one.
Yep. I remember when you said that, you're like, that was awful. And I was like, that was wonderful. That was life-changing.
It's definitely probably like our biggest disagreement of the whole episode right there. Well, we're about to find out, actually. So I'll let you go with number 2 because we know what my number 1 is. Easy.
Yeah, and I know that you're going to also, so you'll disagree with me with this one as well. My number 2 is Lady Gaga. And I love Lady Gaga. I really do. You know, I think that Lady Gaga is fantastic. She's an artist.
What numerical rating did you give her?
Oh, I gave her a 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason, I don't know why. I would honestly call it the next one, like my top 2 ties, if I were to be honest. Like, her performance from start to finish was not disjointed, right? It felt like a full set. She was on the piano at a certain point. She was coming out of the sky. Like, she did the thing, you know, and she can sing. We know that. And, you know, she gets into her, a million reasons why, right? Like, it was like high energy to like acoustic. And it's just like, it was her whole entire, I felt like at that time, she was showing range, right? She came out, she was like, pop, 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 poker face, just dance. Like, that was to me, like, everything. Okay, so that means that your number 2 is my number 1. So your number 2
is Beyonce.
Yep.
And I think, again, in the same way that, like, it's not like it's a far distance between Beyonce and Lady Gaga. Their showmanship is unmatched, in my opinion. It just is unmatched. They are delivering authentic talent in terms of music. They are delivering showmanship. They are delivering choreography, and it's all there. Like, they check every single box, and at a certain point, those two were really just a matter of preference.
Yeah.
I think, personally, for me, it was just the theatrics of it really were like the make or break thing. And so, again, there was nothing, in my opinion, that was like wrong with Beyonce's performance. I love the fact that she brings on Destiny's Child. It has that nostalgia, that moment that you really need. But it was just my number 2 performance, because for me, how do you beat someone jumping off of the roof? Like, the theatrics of it all, you know, like, it just...
And that is very on brand for Lady Gaga, though, right? Like, that is just her at that time, right? Like, that was
and she's had some questionable theatrics, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not... she's had some moments, like, in performances where I'm like, why would you do that? That's weird. Please stop. But this was definitely not one of those moments.
No, yeah. And I would say, like, even just, like, thinking about just, like, the timeline between it, like, Lady Gaga's one is one of those that just sticks out to me, right? Like, coming out of the sky. And I just remember, again, like, the memes that came out with that, because they were memeing her with Patrick Star from SpongeBob coming out of the sky during his performance. So, you know, like, it was but it was so well done, and she's so talented as a musician, and I think all of that just like highlighted her as an artist. My number 1 is obviously Beyonce, and I think it's preferential. Just like I prefer Beyonce, not to say that I don't like Lady Gaga, but if I were to be given, you know, 2 albums and I had to listen to it, would probably pick Beyonce. And because of the fact that she brought on Destiny's Child, you know, she had that whole thing. She did that part in front of the screen, which at that time was like such a big deal, like in terms of the showmanship, right? She did that whole, like, she's in front of the screen and it's like coming in and coming out, like the holographics, like it was a well done show. Like, that to me felt like this is a Super Bowl show, you know. And then it was like she brought on Destiny's Child, they popped out of the stage, you know. But I will say that the one thing, so I did actually give Beyonce also a 9.5. The only reason why was because I wanted Destiny's Child to do like a little bit more. Like, they came out and they did their ba 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 de oh ba de ba ba, and then they were like, oh, the single ladies, bye. And I was like, what? They didn't even sing Bootylicious. Like,
not even a song.
Right. They probably sang about a minute's worth of anything, and it was not even a full song of Anywhere.
It's just teaser. They were just here, emotional support.
Yeah, right.
Really tugging on your heartstrings a little bit. So,
yeah.
Again, I'm very glad that at least generally speaking, yes, we had some outliers, but like I feel like generally speaking, like our ratings were similar.
Right.
Which is very helpful. Like, I don't know. There's some people that would be like, Maroon 5 is my favorite. I'm like, I can't be your friend because how?
I can't trust you.
I can't. Anyone who's coming on here talking about Justin Timberlake as top 5, I'd be like, no, that's wrong.
You're actually a trash human being.
Like, you clearly do not understand anything. So, yeah, I'm very glad that at least, you know, we got to the top 2 and they were both, I mean, I personally gave Lady Gaga's like a 10 stars, but, you know, I understand. It'd be like that. So I guess in this particular moment, we have Usher, which honestly, there are definitely some moments where they announce who the performer is going to be. And, sometimes I hear the announcement. I'm like, okay, this is going to be weird. But I don't know. Like, Usher was one of those people. I'm like, nah, like, I really think this is going to be a good show. Like, it's Usher. I felt the same way about Rihanna. I'm not going to lie. Like, I thought she was about to be out here. And, like, I really did think that she was going to deliver something different than what she did. So for me, like, Rihanna's was one of those, like, high hopes, low delivery. But I'm really hoping this year's another, like, high hopes. And so I'm really just like, okay, please deliver this year, because I can't do 2 years I can't do 2 years of high hopes and low delivery. I just can't.
Yes, looking at you, Justin Timberlake and Maroon 5 being back to back. Like, that was just a...
I'm sure some people loved it, but it wasn't for me.
I was not the target audience, I will say that.
Do you have some songs that you're like really looking forward to?
Yes, and I have, because, okay, so TikTok right now is going through, last year people were like predicting Rihanna's show. They were like, lights out, and then, she jumps out and it's like, but did I have my money? Right? So like that whole thing. So I asked Kris to come together with his predictions. At time of recording, it will air in about 24 hours. So my prediction is, hold on, I have the whole set list actually of what I think is going to happen. So I also have my predictions for who I think may come out as well, and also my hopes. Okay, so are you ready for it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so when Usher did his like promo videos, and it was so smart the way that he did it, it was his confessions. I don't know if you're keeping up with that. It was like, the part in the beginning of Confessions where he's like, I don't know what you mean. He's like, wait, are you serious? And it's that call that he's getting from the girl. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so it's him telling his past self. So he's like, yo, Usher, like, you're about to be on the Super Bowl. And he's like, wait, are you serious? And it's like playing the back and forth. So I think it's going to be an homage to his earlier things, right? So I think it's going to be the Confessions opening, like the promo announcement, and it's blacked out. And then it's going to be like, he pops up and he's going to do, you don't have to call. It's okay, girl. Right? And then it's going to go, do, 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 do. And then it's going, yeah, yeah. And they're going to do a yeah and a caught up mashup. Caught up, da-da-da, caught up. And it's like, peace out, A-Town, all this whole thing, okay? And then it's going to go, at that point, we're going to have a special guest of Lil Jon and friends. So Lil Jon, Ludacris, I think they're going to come on. We're going to slow it down. And it's going to go, lovers and friends, da-na-na. Ludacris, the whole thing. So then after that, because in my head, this is telling a story, right? Like my story that I've been telling my Delulu self is that he's going to tell the story of you're going out for a night, you meet a girl, and then it's like he's having this whole flash forward thing. Stick with me, Christopher. I am very serious about this.
I can tell.
So then he goes into... Right, the story that we're telling right now is that he's going to the club, he meets this girl, he has this whole, like, he's having, like, basically a dream sequence of all the things that are going to happen, and then it's going to come back, okay? So, then he's still in the club, so then they're going to do DJ God Is Falling in Love, right? Da-na-na-na. Yeah? No? Mm-hmm. Anyway. So then, as they move into that, because, right, the special guests are going to be Lil Jon and Ludacris at that point. And then it's going to go like back. And they're going to do, you remind me of a girl. Because that's going to be his thing, right? His show is about him and the girl that I once knew, right? Then moving into, let me take you somewhere. I just want to take it nice and slow. Okay. And then we move into burn. Let it burn. And feeling the same in your heart. And you want to, And then it goes into My Boo, and he's gonna bring on Alicia Keys.
Okay.
Wait, no, I'm not done.
The show's only like 15 minutes, right?
Exactly. That's why it's gonna be like quick. It's gonna be quick because it's telling a story, right? And then the closing, because Justin Bieber has been posting like leading up to the.
I forgot they had a thing.
Super Bowl, because that's his protege, right? Justin Bieber was his protege. So then it's gonna close out with, I just need somebody to love, or I got my peaches out in Georgia. Done. End scene.
Wow.
Whew, wasn't that a roller coaster?
That was a lot.
There was but you know what that was? Oh, that was a lot of songs.
That was a lot of songs. I didn't come with anything like that. I was just like, there are some songs that I think would be great.
Okay, what are you thinking? Lights Out. What do you think is his opening song?
I don't even know. I think just based on like Wow. I should have went first because you had this really well thought out plan, and I'm just kind of like, great. I definitely think I forgot about Justin Bieber, honestly. So in my original plan, Justin Bieber was not in there at all.
Did you have any special guests?
If there were gonna be a special guest, it was probably going to be will.i.am because he just seems like someone who's available.
You don't got a lot going on.
I really think in terms of, really bringing something to the performance, I think Ludacris would be great. And then potentially, Lil Jon and Ludacris, I think would be a lot of fun. I love Alicia Keys, but I just don't know if the song that they did together is bringing the right type of energy for the Super Bowl. Unless it's, I guess, maybe like 2/3 of the way through the show and they're slowing it down.
Closing. They're slowing it down.
Just to bring it back up for the finale kind of thing. But for the most part, like, he just has such like high energy songs. So I'm just excited. I think, yeah, we'll definitely be in there. I hadn't considered Love in This Club, but like when you said it in the context of your story, it definitely makes sense. Because OMG makes sense in terms of like the energy that it brings naturally.
Yeah, and then will.i.am's in
DJ Got Us Falling in Love. Yeah, that's where will.i.am comes in. So there are some songs that I just thought were like lent itself really well because Usher's one of those artists that has higher energy songs, but then he also has, again, like Confessions, Burn, My Boo. Those are more like the power ballad kind of experiences that aren't necessarily like Super Bowl. I would go to an Usher concert to watch those, but not necessarily the Super Bowl.
I can see that. Yeah, that's where I was like, I was struggling as I was coming up with my prediction because I was like, okay, are we going with high energy or are we going to go with like
Coldplay,
old school? Like, yeah, right. Like, let's show his like full entire career, right? I didn't even do it's 7:00 on the dot. I'm in my drop top.
So there are some songs I would feel good about. I'm just not sure that they'll make it into the Super Bowl, which is also a condensed performance.
Yes, I agree.
I'm convinced and hopeful that this will definitely be a top 5 for me. I'm not sure it'll be a top 3, but I'm very confident and hopeful that it'll be a top 5.
Yeah, I hope so. I just have such high hopes that I just don't want it to flop. And I know that he just also released a new album as well, so that in
like 2 days ago.
Like, right.
At time of recording.
I hope he doesn't do anything from his new stuff just because
there hasn't been enough time to sit with it.
Yeah. So like his newest, I would say like his most recent that I would hope is in there is probably like OMG and things like that. Because I don't even think I know anything from his.
I know his song Good, but that's not a song that I would perform at. Again, I'm not a performer, whatever, do whatever you want. But like that's just not a song that I'd put in the Super Bowl. But I'm just saying, like it does have Summer Walker and 21 Savage, but I'm just not sure. Anyways, I think it's going to be a great performance. I'm super excited and I am definitely, I need you to like type up whatever notes that you just made. So that way we can do a comparison of what actually happens because it's written really intense. Like, make sure that that's like ready to be posted on Instagram because
it's coming. I was ready, everyone. I was like so hyped while I was doing this. I was looking through his entire like.
I didn't realize that was the assignment. Like, I didn't know we were designing shows. So
my bad. Sorry, I wasn't clear. I wasn't clear in that part. But next year, you'll see. Well, depending on who the artist is. And
depending on who it is, because some people I'll just opt out of. There are some people in this world that I will opt out of aggressively. So, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Well, anything else that you would like to share about your experience with halftime shows and the reason that you don't watch regular football? Because same. It'd be like that.
I do watch regular football. Also, go 49ers. That's where we're at. Sorry, we're a Niner family. Niners strong.
Oh, who's playing?
Oh, Lord. The 49ers versus the Chiefs, a.k.a. Travis Kelce, a.k.a. Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Wait, they didn't rename the Chiefs?
No, they renamed the other one. That was also very problematic.
I mean, I know they have a different name. I just wasn't sure if the Chiefs had gotten one.
Nope.
That was worse. Oh, okay, cool. Love that for them. Well, I don't have any, I don't care who wins. Love that for whoever's playing. It's been a wonderful season of games I didn't watch, so it's fine. But in any case, it is now time for our...
Rapid Fire Question!
And in true Tea with Karma fashion, Emma has the first question.
I have the first question, which is... So in Japanese is actually very onomatopoeic, meaning, like like they use lots of onomatopoeia to describe different things. Like there's a word for like when you're so hungry that like your stomach is closing in on itself, and like there's a word for like the crunchiness of things. So like, what is your favorite onomatopoeia?
So for the people that may or may not remember what onomatopoeia is from high school lit, you do care to explain?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for those who don't know it, it's words that describe actions.
Like pow in the comic books?
Like zing, because it sounds like a zing.
Oh, okay. Well, as someone who didn't remember what onomatopoeia was from 12th grade lit and is being asked this question, mine would be pow from the comic books, because honestly, it's just really funny. And I really like when 21st century media uses it almost like ironically. Like it's one of my favorite types of media where like, and it doesn't happen often, but like, you know, you get punched and then instead of like showing the punch in detail, you just show pow. Also, because I'm just not like a super fan of graphic violence. So I just love when people do like cutesy stuff like that instead of like showing the thing. Does it happen often? No, but that's not really the point. It should. That should be how they censor movies for people like me who have sensitive stomachs and can't watch violent movies. Like instead, they're just like a big graphic that goes pow, and like you don't have to watch someone's head exploding, you know, or like bang.
Right. There you go. So like, yeah. So like bang, sizzle is another onomatopoeia word. Most animal
Is it really?
Sizzle? Yeah, because it sounds like sizzle.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
That's how it got its name. Where sizzle got its name because of the thing that it does. Like the.
In all fairness, pow's also my favorite because it's the only one that I knew.
Okay, so my favorite is because I've been learning a lot of like Japanese words, and I feel like I can speak more onomatopoeic Japanese words, but one of my favorites is peko peko. So it's like when your stomach is so hungry that it's like, you know, gargling, but it's because if you were to take a plastic bottle and you like crinkled it, right, it would sound like it sounds like, because that's what your stomach like feels like or sounds like, is like when you're using a plastic bottle. And then another one that I really like is saksaku, which is like for crunchy, like something is crunchy. So it's like, oh, it's like, so like chicken is saksaku, because it's like when you like bite into it, it's like, so like you can also say like chips are saksaku, like french fries are saksaku. So that's my question. What's your question today?
Honestly, I forgot that I had a question, then I was like, wow, I'm learning so much right now. I love 12th grade lit. Well, mine is, are you supportive of a friend even if you don't agree with what they are doing?
Ooh, that's why I say I support women's rights, but I always support women's wrongs too. But I think it's very contextual. There are certain things that like, yeah, go ahead, live your best life. Go ahead, whole round. Like, you do you. But I think if that person is doing harm to potentially another person, then I wouldn't be able to support that. What about you?
I lean on the no side. I just have a really hard time with, how do I explain it? I don't know, man. I'm a little judgy. And I guess I imagine it in the context of like, how do I...
Like,
I am not like, a person that like, please do not come to me like with a sob story. Especially if you told me about it before the thing happened. Mm-hmm. We talked about it and I was like, that doesn't really sound like a good idea.
Almost like the self-inflicted wrong.
It like pans out as the not good idea. I am not the friend that you come to after I already told you that it wasn't a good idea, because I'm going to be highly annoyed at the fact that I now have to listen to you complain about a thing that I told you wasn't going to be a good idea.
Right. You're the solution friend.
I'm the solution friend. Please do not come to me after I've given you the solution ahead of time. You have ignored said solution and now you are in a like either equally bad or worse situation. And like, I just don't do well with like listening to rants unless you have very clearly defined at the very beginning of the conversation that you just need to be listened to. Mm-hmm. Because my brain does not do that. It finds solutions. Mm. So generally, I would describe myself as not supportive of foolery. Okay? And cool, you could say that is one of my weaknesses as a friend, and I would accept that, and I have no intention of changing it. And so if that like makes you not want to be my friend, I thank you in advance for making a decision that would probably save the both of us headaches. So
Right. But I think you need those types of friends, though, right? Like, in terms
that do what?
of
Foolish
friends.
stuff in their weekends?
No. Like, you have a friend that you go to when you have problems, right? And will give you the solution, whether or not you'll listen to it. And then you have the friend that just kind of like not blindly, but
It's
like more or
about
less
that
is
life.
just, right. It was just like, okay, you call them and like, yeah, they're about to fight. Like they're ready or whatever it is. Like there's balance, right? There's this whole thing talking about like you have 5 types of friends in your life. So like whether or not, whatever that means to you.
And I'm not the like blind supportive friend.
Right. You're the solution friend.
I am the solution friend, and like I will ride with you through that solution for sure. And even if you come up with like your own solution, but I can't do people who like cyclically problems. I just I can't. I only have so much emotional capacity for anything.
Right.
And so I can't spend it on problems that you keep making for yourself.
I feel like that's a whole episode in itself. The 5 friends you meet across your life. So stay tuned.
Well, Emma, where can people find the podcast?
You can find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at The Tea with Crema. If you'd like to support us and buy us a cup of tea, you can also Venmo us at The Tea with Crema. You can find our past episodes and our most recent episodes on your favorite streaming platforms. We hope to see you next time. Bye!